Donald Trump, he has been known as a flip-flopper. Okay, one moment he's Republican, the next moment he's Democrat, and the other moment he's Republican. Then he says he's, if he doesn't win the Republican nomination, he's going to run as independent. But then he says that no, his allegiance lie with the Republican Party. But now we find out that he'll probably run as independent. Now, see, here's the thing. Now, I'm not a tarot reader. I'm not a psychic or anything like that. But this is how I predict that this election will go, is that Trump will not get the Republican nomination. He won't. That will go to either Jeb Bush or Ted Cruz. And Trump will then run on the third party ticket, the independent ticket, which, as we all know, if you know anything about political science, knows that, when a conservative runs on the independent ticket, it splits the Republican ticket, which leaves either Hillary Clinton, God help us all, or Bernie Sanders.
That's another God help us all.
Honestly, when you boil everything down to it, if we are going to have a Democratic president, I would rather have Bernie Sanders because he is already 1 foot in the grave. Okay, the man doesn't really have many years left to live, and as we've seen from Obama, the presidency tends to really wear down on you. So if Sanders is elected, I see him dying within the first term of his office. And, whomever he chooses to be his vice president will become president. And that means Paul Ryan will be our vice president. Yeah, see, the time has never been right for American resistance right now. Because there is as we look at the political field, there is no scenario that would actually play out to Americans' advantage. I don't know, Jason, maybe you can disagree with me, or maybe you agree with me. I don't know. What are your thoughts on the whole presidential election debacle?
Well, I kind of share the same feelings. What you were saying, like with Trump, he's telling America what they want to hear. They want to hear all the warm and fuzzy things that are going to happen, but they fail to realize he's a businessman, and a lot of what's going on out there. And I'm going to bring up one is a Trans-Pacific Partnership, which basically makes us a union state.
Now you're talking about the TPP, right?
Yes, the
right.
one
that Obama praised during his State of the Union address?
Correct, yes. And the reason why I say that he'll support that is because he is a businessman. There's going to be money in it for him either which way, even if it costs millions, well, I'm not going to say millions, maybe thousands of American jobs, or it could be millions of American jobs. He won't care in the end because, number one, if he gets elected into the office, he's there for the duration, and he's going to make his money. I mean, that's bottom line. Any businessman out there, especially the ones in his caliber, are out to make money. That's what it's all about. It's all about that dollar.
Absolutely.
I work in the world of government contracting, and millions of dollars changes hands in the government contracting world. And let me tell you, there are some ruthless people out there. There really are. And I've seen the way some contracts have been awarded, and all I'll say is I don't agree with how that system works sometimes, but it does. All the people involved, it all comes down to the dollar, and people need to realize that it's going to come to that when they have him in there. And as far as the Democratic ticket is concerned, I can agree.
Well, and here's the thing. is, and speaking on the conservative note here, and honestly, the way that Republicans are going, I don't even know if I want to even consider myself conservative. I'm definitely not liberal, so I'm just going to say I'm right in the middle. But here's the thing: Trump is a corporate elitist.
Yes.
And that is something that a lot of patriots out there, and I'm talking about Tea Partiers, constitutionalists, and the like, have spoken out against. But yet it is those same people that praise Donald Trump. And it's like, wait a minute. He's a corporate elitist. What? Why? Why? Yeah. But then, you look at Ted Cruz and, his wife with her connections to Goldman Sachs.
Yeah, she's the vice president of the board of Goldman Sachs.
Exactly. And, anyone that follows, the political arena knows that Goldman Sachs does play a very heavy role in lobbying and passing laws and this and that. And, I mean, come on. It's going to be Goldman Sachs being the president, not Ted Cruz.
Yeah, well, they're an operational arm of the Federal Reserve. I mean, there's no doubt about that. And you are right. I mean, if Cruz gets in there, it's going to be the same.
Right.
I mean, it's going to be the same. And you brought up an interesting point earlier that a lot of people aren't aware of. And what you were talking about was the Act of 1871, and that's where Congress actually created a separate form of government, and it was called the District of Columbia, which is a 10 square parcel of land, 10 square mile parcel of land. And it's a corporate entity. It's a foreign corporate entity.
And do you know why the Act of 1871 happened?
Because at that time we were pretty much broke after the Civil War, and they wanted their bailout, and they got it. By passing that, money exchanged hands again, going back to the almighty dollar, and they sold their country out and their countrymen.
Well, yeah, okay, yeah, that's the long version. Now, the short version of it, during the Act of 1871, there were actually three different, I don't know what you call it, three different sections of the Act of 1871. And the whole reason this came about was, at the time, the president was Ulysses S. Grant. And, the capital was in, Washington, D.C., as we know it today. So, being that it was the capital of the United States, Ulysses S. Grant decided, hey, you know what? This is the capital of our country, so we should renovate it. We should put in, brick roads. We should put in a sanitation system, and a water system, and this and that, or what. Which, in all fairness to Grant, it sounds all great and wonderful, but the governor of D.C. at that time went way over budget. And basically, bankrupt the U.S. government. So, what did they do? They went to the corporate elitists, the Rothschilds. Help me out here, Jason. All other corporate elitists in that. You got
had the Rockefellers.
The Rockefellers, yep.
You had Rockefeller Plaza, and then DuPont's, I know, was another one back then.
So what did they do? The government went to these powerful men and took out a loan. Now, if you have ever gone out and gotten a loan, whether for a car or for a home, whatever, and your credit wasn't, the greatest, which at that time, the United States credit was far below 600.
Far below AAA.
Yeah, far below AAA, and we're probably an A. But so obviously they wanted collateral, right? Like any bank, they wanted collateral. Guess what that collateral was?
You and I.
And our country. our government, our legislature. Hey, we want to pass the laws that we feel that are right for us, the corporation. And, honestly, I don't, when it comes to Democrats, I don't blame Democrats when they say, when they talk about Wall Street and, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, because that's true. It's true. I mean, now do I believe that, the filthy rich should, pay more in taxes?
No.
No, I don't believe they should pay more in taxes. But what I do believe is that this country should have a flat tax. Everyone pays the same percentage of tax. Now, if you're filthy rich, then obviously that's going to be more money than if you're dirt poor. 15% of your income, if you're dirt poor, that might be like $500. But if you're filthy rich, that might be $5 million.
Right.
But, let's look at, too, that all these other, filthy rich people, like Al Sharpton, for instance, have not paid their taxes in years or even decades. What the heck?
Well, the reason why they haven't is because they know what the game is and they know how to play the game. And the game is separating themselves as being a 14th Amendment U.S. citizen, which is part of the District of Columbia, which basically makes you a corporate entity or an employee of that corporation.
Now, see,
where you're liable for the taxes, or on the flip coin side that they're using is that they are considering themselves American citizens, or if you want to call it an American national, which is a non-residential alien.
Wow.
Of the corporate United States. And they don't have to pay any tax. That's where it's voluntary. But that is a very complicated subject.
Now let me just reiterate this. Now, the 14th Amendment was actually ratified on July 9th, 1868. So we're a couple years before 1861. So, yeah, it was brand new, and obviously people are, hey, there's this new constitutional amendment. I'm going to take advantage of it as much as I can, right? So, now, anyways, now, mind you, this isn't going to be the entire show, bantering back and forth like this. Now, we do have an agenda, like the federal government, but ours is actually productive, other than the federal government. We are going to be talking about the 10 steps to closing an open society. Now, if you're a longtime listener, yes, we've done this particular topic before. However, with what has been going on in the country and the news and everything, I felt that it was necessary that we revisit this and, correlate, all the 10 steps. And literally, folks, this is a page out of Hitler's playbook, okay? Hitler, Stalin, all the dictators out there. This is a page from their playbook. Now, there's only 10 steps. That's it, just 10 steps. I mean, hell, Alcoholics Anonymous has 12, so this is a lot easier, right? 2 steps less. And now, let's look at the first one here. Now, the first step is to create an internal and external threat. Let's see. Has there been an internal threat? Oh, Black Lives Matter. There's an internal threat right there. Black Lives Matter. Let's talk a little bit about that. Now, by the way, if you folks listening and if you want to weigh in on anything that we're talking about, by all means, give me a call here, 651-447-5595. Again, 651-447-5595. If you got Skype, the Skype ID is That Radio, all one word, all lowercase, and I'll be happy to accept your